Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So in today's video, let's do a quick exercise of attempting to create an eye. And I have this screenshot here from a awesome book called Anatomy for Sculptors. So you are welcome to research that and see if you can find great references there as well. But in here, I have this really cool diagram kind of showing the anatomy of the eye, right? And if we take a close look, the most important parts that I'm seeing is going to be the upper lid, right, in red. You can see that, that's important. We have the tear duct, which is going to be a little kind of a skin right to the right or to the left, I guess in this case, of the pupil or the eye. And then you have the very important bottom lid, and we have the tear bag, and with the eyeball, and so on, right? So now let's see if we can create something very similar in zBrush and kind of pay attention to maybe the flow of geometry, right? So to get started, just for this exercise, I'm going to go to my light box, and in my project, I'm going to click on head plane, and it doesn't really matter. I'm going to grab this head plane male 128, okay? And I'm going to say, I'm going to double click on it to grab it, and let's just see if we can create an eye that is kind of sitting right in here. And I'm not going to obviously focus on anything else, right? Holding on the shift key, I'm just going to smooth this area up, and let's just simply kind of focus on this area only, right? Well, one of the things I could do right away is I can create maybe a little better indentation for the eye. So for that, I can grab my inflate brush, I can hold on the Alt key because I'm in the add mode right now, right? And I can just maybe just push this in a little more. And you know, I don't want to make it too dramatic, but just give myself some kind of a indentation or a placeholder for where the eye is going to be, right? Very cool. We can decide if we like the nose. Maybe we could just push this in a little more as well to help us kind of even things out, right? And now what I would do next is let's go ahead and redynamesh this. And you know what, we could bump this up to maybe 512 just so we have a little more geometry to play with. I'm going to smooth this out. And let's go ahead and insert a sphere, right? I'm going to insert a sphere, and that's going to be my eye. So what I'm going to do next is just grab my scale. Let's just scale this down and put it into a better position, right? And just decide what size eye we want. That kind of makes sense for our example or this character. So I'll do something like that. I think makes sense. All right, once we get this in kind of a good position, we can grab our move brush. I'm going to hold on the Alt and tap on my mesh. And once again, just maybe make a few more adjustments to make sure that I don't have any kind of a extreme shapes here, right? All right, very cool. So now how do we go about creating this kind of topology, right? So there's a few different methods that I can think of. One would be duplicating this, making it a little larger and just making a cut, right? And we can explore that, right? We could see how that works. We can duplicate this. For example, we can grab our move. We can scale this up. We could do something like that. And then what we could do is hold down Control and Shift. And if we wanted to, we can do something like knife rectangular and maybe just make a cut, right? So this would be one way of achieving kind of an eyelid result. And now from this point on, we can start kind of sculpting it into position. But what if you wanted to have a little more control over each eyelid? Maybe you want to make sure that your eyelids are overlapping. And this is doable, right? You can move these things around and put them into place, but is there a better way or a different way? And I think there is, right? We can always delete this. Let's go ahead and delete this one. And what we could do is let's just grab something like, I'm gonna go into my brushes, and let's grab something like the curve strap snap, right? Let's do that. And what that's gonna allow us to do is going to allow us to create a eyelid that is very similar to what you're seeing here in this example, right? And you can see what that looks like. We can, of course, extend it if we needed to. And we can also move it around, right? Maybe I want to move it into a better position. And let's say I'm happy with this top one. I'm going to click on my sphere to bake that, bake that in. And what I need to do next is I want to create the bottom one next. So for that, let me do that next. Okay, so now I have a bottom one. I'm going to click once again. And now it would be really nice if these were all separated so we can play around with them. So let's go ahead and get rid of the mask. Let's go ahead and go to split and do split to parts and say okay. Now with the eyeball, we have the bottom and the top lids all separated, right? So now what I could do is I can click on, let's say click on this bottom one, grab my move brush, and of course I can adjust it as I wish, right? And let's say one of the most important things that I'm looking for initially is to create this nice overlap towards the end of the eye, right? How do we do that? So let's go ahead and just simply alt click on this. Maybe I can move this up a little bit. I can alt click on this one and get it into maybe a better position and start kind of tucking it in. All right, and we can now, because this is on a separate layer, we have a lot of control and we can pretty much do anything we need, but we can of course create this really nice overlap that you are seeing in this chart. Okay, very nice. Now let's say we want to subdivide these. If I simply do Control D, you can see that that's not going to hold my edges. So for me to hold my edges, one of the ways I can do it is go to Z Modeler. I can hover over an edge, press spacebar, go to crease. I can do edge loop partial, and I'm going to click on this line there. I can do solo, and let's just also hold this edge. And we can decide if we want to hold any other edges. That's fine. Let's just grab these two. And I'm going to do Control D a few times. And now you can see what is happening, right? These edges are being held into place while everything else is kind of being smoothed out, right? And I don't really care about any other edges besides these two. I'm gonna do Alt and click on this one. Let's go to solo and let's do the same thing, right? I'm gonna go ahead and crease this and this, and maybe I'll crease this and this as well. And I think everything else is gonna be kind of tucked into the skin. So let's do Control D a couple times. And now this is nice and smooth. Now, once we got this in place, right, what else can we do? So one of the things you'll notice in the actual example is that the skin kind of nicely meets the bottom lid, and then the top lid is also kind of covered with the top part of the skin from the actual head mesh. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab my mesh and grab my move brush. And let's just start slowly moving this into position to kind of mimic the same flow, right? We have this kind of an overlap, right? All of this is just kind of hugging the eyelid, right? So all of that is going to go just like that. And for the bottom, same thing. I can just move all of this in. And I need to make sure that it's not grabbing, it's not interfering with this geometry here. So I'm going to move this kind of away a little bit. And now it's just a matter of tweaking and making sure that you like your mesh, right? So let's say I like something like this. If I wanted to move these around, right, they're still on separate layers, so I can easily do that. Maybe I need to move them in a little bit better position. Okay. Now, an interesting thing we can pay attention to is that this part right here is kind of much skinnier, right? So we can maybe pull this up a little, and you can see this part right here gets a little bit thicker. Just kind of keeping it similar to my reference. We can pay attention to the lid here. It's very similar. All right, if we wanted to get the tear duct, right, I can always select my eye. I can do Control D to subdivide it. Just make sure it's nice and smooth. I can grab something like my standard brush, and maybe I'll turn off the alpha. And let me just simply do Control and drag, do something like that. We can go into subtools and go to extract. All right, this seems to be pretty good. So let's go ahead and say accept. And now we have this tear duct in place. I'm going to control and drag to get rid of the masking. If I wanted to adjust this a little bit, maybe I could do that. I can also do control and shift, and of course grab something like my knife tool and just maybe clean it up a little bit, right? So I can always do that. Let's do Alt tap on this, and let me just move this into place. All right, and at this point, if I wanted to do any more blending or sculpting, of course, I could simply take the eyelid and move it up to my face. And now what I could do is I can just simply merge it down. Let me pump up the resolution just a little more and redynamesh, make sure I'm holding all of my shapes. And now I can just smooth this part out. And as I'm smoothing this out, you can see that the eye is being nicely integrated into the skin. And it's maintaining kind of this really nice eyelid edge, right? So we maintain that. And at this point on, we can start deciding what other sculptural elements we want to build in. For a placeholder, we can always select our eye, go to standard, let's just do drag, and let's just select something like alpha 14. And what I'm going to do next is let's just simply in the sub mode, I'm just going to simply drag this out, something like that. And I'm just going to make sure it's kind of centered. I'll do one, right? And then I'll do another one inside. And once I let go, I'm going to press 1 a couple times to kind of push it in. And this is a great placeholder for our eye, right? Now, the other thing I can do, of course, is if I grab my face, I can now, let's say I want to flip it to the other side, so I could do that. I could do the same thing with the eye. Let's say I want to duplicate it, I'm going to mirror it. Let's go ahead and delete the subdivision levels, mirror it over, and don't forget our tear duct, so I could do the same thing. And there you have it. So this is a really interesting and clever way to build kind of a correct anatomy for the eye. And at this point on, you just have to continue sculpting your character, right? All right, so this would be one of many ways to create an eye. So thanks for watching this video. Hopefully this helped you out, and I'll see you in our next one.